Hello and welcome to CEDIA Expo 2021, the CEDIA Expo Smart Stage. We're going to get underway immediately here. You will note that there's a microphone in the middle of the floor. If you have questions at the end of the session, please feel free. If you're too nervous and you don't want to get up, flag me down. I'm the guy in the back in the jacket, and I will gladly bring you a microphone. Please welcome to the stage to take over. I'll toss it right to him. David Danto. He is Director of UC Strategy and Research with Poly, and he's also with IMCCA. David, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ed. I appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. You're the brave souls that decided to come today, so thank you very much. A number of people prefer to take badges off when they're up here presenting or doing anything at a conference. I don't. I kind of am proud of it, that I'm here and that I'm wearing it, so if it looks dumb, I apologize. I've got a bunch of slides that I'll share with you. I really want to have people think a little bit differently about working from home. Let me make sure the clicker works in terms of home office design. Please take a look at my my Twitter handle there. It's at NJDavid. If anybody wants to take pictures and post things here, the guy was really smart, the guy was really dumb, whatever you want to say, it's fine with me. So first let me talk a little bit about the IMCCA. It's short for the Interactive Multimedia and Collaborative Communications Alliance. The executive director is actually sitting right over there in the stage. There's a booth back over there. If you're not a member, then there's something wrong with you. It's free for end users. It's very inexpensive for vendors and consultants. And it's really the nonprofit wing of unified communications. So if you've never heard of it before, go to imcca.org, visit our booth over there. It's number 5358. That only changed 5 times. And the members of the IMCCA that were going to be here at the show are there. Please join us. We do a lot of amazing educational things online and in person, and we'd love to have you as a member. So let's talk about remote working. How many of you guys have been working from home since the pandemic started? So we're all talking from the same body of experience. We were, in the old normal, people were asked to come into the office all the time. Working from home was considered a perk, a privilege, something that you might not necessarily get. And most employees, really only went home to use their system once. They'd turn it on and say, "Hi, can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, great. So if we're ever in a crisis, I can use this, and now I'm going back to the office." When the pandemic hit initially, which in this area, in my personal background of experience, was March of 2020. God, I got to think back. Everybody said, "Go home. Go home. We don't know how long. Go. You'll be there for a week. You go." So we all just kind of ran and went home, and we grabbed whatever we had around for remote work. Sometimes that was a computer with an embedded camera. Sometimes it was an iPad or a smartphone or whatever we had, because we were told to go home. We're home. We're home for a week. We're home for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, 3 months. All right, this temporary stuff, this isn't going to work anymore. So we kind of hit the next phase of the lockdown. Again, I don't know how many of you guys remember this, but people started to say, "I need better gear. I can't work like this. I need my headset from my desk in the office. I need my big monitor. I need my chair." So some companies were saying, your mommy and daddy take out their wallet. Here's a couple $100. Go get yourself something. Some companies did curbside pickups. Tell us what you want from your desk and drive up and you can go get it. And we knew we had to improve the workstation. And what we're dealing with right now is a situation where we're probably going to be working in a hybrid working mode, and that's a term I'll probably say a lot today, you've probably heard before, for a very long time. Hybrid working is something that we're just going to live with, and that means that what we do from home can't be this haphazard thing anymore. It needs to be something that we've focused on. We're not going to be working from temporary bedrooms anymore. We're not going to be at the kitchen table with our kids learning. In order to be successful knowledge workers from home, we're going to need to have devices that are specifically built for working in that environment. Sometimes they're similar to devices for the enterprise, and sometimes they're similar to devices for consumers. But most of the time now, you're going to start to see products emerging. I'm sure you guys have products emerging that are built specifically for working from home. This is really a nice guide slide, and hopefully you'll be able to get the slides from CEDIA. If not, email me, contact me. I'll be happy to get you. These are some good considerations. I'm not sure if I have a laser pointer on this thing, so I won't. But let's go through a little bit of it very briefly, because I think it's actually really important. Oh, did I do that? Can you knock off the thing for me on the computer? I apologize. I blocked it by, I guess, hitting a wrong button. Lighting. It's important to have real lighting. It's probably one of the most important pieces that you would have in a video conference system, where standard broadcast lighting is 3-point lighting, key light, fill light, at 45-degree angles, and some type of backlight or something that separates you. You can buy really good, expensive video lights now. There are a couple of great companies that make them. I don't want to promote one over another. You can get beautiful lighting rings. You can also get a really nice dimmable color temperature adjustable lamp on Amazon for about $30. So figure out specific lighting for video. If you're going to be working from home for the long term, you're going to need more than one display. I worked with 2 for the longest time in my home office. I just graduated to 3. I can't manage without it because now I have one that I use for my communication. I have one that I use for video conferencing entirely, and I have a third one that I use when I'm presenting that I know that I'm putting the content up on that one so I can still see the video conference and I can still do my work. Audio, very important to have a specific audio device for your circumstance, and I'll get into a little bit more of that later. Sometimes it's a headset, sometimes it's a hands-free device. That's important. Having a comfortable desk. It's important to have a place to go to in your home where you know you are at work. Yes, I'll take out my phone and I'll answer a message from a colleague at night in the evening, or if coming back from dinner. I don't mind staying in touch with my colleagues. I'd like to be there for them because I want them to be there for me. But when I know I'm going to work, I go to my desk, which in my house happens to be in my basement. I know I'm at work mentally. My wife, my kids know I'm at work. My pets know I'm at work. It's a very important thing to have a place to go to in your home where you know, all right, this isn't just me answering a message. I'm actually working now. I'm concentrating. Bandwidth, we never did the flush test before the pandemic. What happens if everybody goes home and flushes their toilets at the same time? Does the plumbing explode? Well, what happens if you go home and you're on a video call and your spouse is on a video call at their job and your kids are taking classes and somebody might be watching some video on YouTube? Does your internet explode? We now know we need bandwidth at home to cover all uses and everything that's going on. These eyeglasses, I don't know if you can tell, you might be able to see a little bit of a purple halo in them, but they have the special, more expensive treatment for anti-glare. If you wear glasses like I do and you're doing video calls and you haven't put that on, all you're seeing in the video is the other lights that you've got on you. So that's important. It's important to see what's going on in the outside world. In some cases, that's a window. You have to be careful with real windows that you don't get sunlight messing up your lighting. In my case, I keep a little iPad right on a gooseneck, right on top of my desk, that's looking at a camera that's shooting out the window, like a nanny cam. So I can see when the mail comes, I can see if it's raining, I can see if it's light out. It's a great human reference for me, and a comfortable chair. And I won't get into the background because we've all learned about the virtual backgrounds and real backgrounds. The important thing is to present yourself in a way that you want to be seen by clients and colleagues. I'm not going to read through this list right now, but I think it's actually very important because a lot of people ask me, why am I buying a camera from you? Why are you trying to sell me a camera? Why do you want to buy one of the Jabra Panacast cameras when your computer, when your tablet has a camera built in? And here's a nice list of reasons, which again, hopefully you'll get down over there. Embedded cameras are teeny, inexpensive, and don't do a very good job. When I was just on a video call with my colleagues yesterday from the hotel room, sure, it's fine. But fine is not what I want to live with when most of my work is from home in a hybrid environment and I'm presenting to clients. I have to look better than fine. I guess this is the best visual example of the difference. And I've exaggerated this, but it's just to make the point, is which one of these views, actually you don't want to look at either of those views with me, with my face, but which one of those views do you want your clients and colleagues to see? Do you want them to see you sharp and clear and appropriate with highlights, or do you not care as long as you're visible to be seen? That's why you want to have a specially built camera for home office. And Aurangzeb and I will talk about this in a little bit, but what are the differences? What do you look for in a camera? Tracking, resolution, software control, the ability to remove, and can you use it as a document camera, and does it have USB? And these are all different pluses and minuses for each kind of cameras. Very briefly going through sound, there are probably 24 really good headsets, and probably a half a dozen terrific hands-free audio devices that you can use in working from home. And a lot of people ask, why do you have that? You can't pick one. At my day job, I'm responsible for the customer advisory boards. And the customer advisory boards, if I say, hey, what's the best headset out there? I duck under the table because people have opinions. I don't want to mess up my hair. I like it in my ear. I like it on my ear. I need it to be on my desk. I need one ear. I need two ears. I need hands. Everybody's got their reasons, and this is the reason why. People have different work styles. Some are office-based, some are more flexible than office-based, And when you figure out what those work styles are, it kind of helps you figure out what the right choices would be in terms of picking an audio device. A blend of styles. If you're in an enterprise or if you're building this equipment for somebody's home, don't just go in there and say, well, this is the camera that I use, or this is the headset that I use. You say, here are the 3 or 4 or 5 that I recommend, and here's why people would pick one over the other. It's not that one headset's better than another, but it's better, more dictated in a certain circumstance. It's not that this camera is better than that camera, but for what you're doing, this camera is better for your circumstances. So that's really how you have to kind of look at everything. I'm going to let Aurangzeb introduce himself. He and I have known each other for at least 10 years at this point now, maybe longer. And we'll just kind of have a chat about this. I've got questions to ask him and things that I can talk about. I would absolutely love to throw my questions out the window if you guys have questions to ask myself or ask Aurangzeb about any of these topics and about any of the problems we found and solved around working from home. So hopefully that was informative for you guys, and it kind of positions what we're going to talk about today. Aurangzeb, why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you do?
Great. Thank you, David. Hello, folks. My name is Aurangzeb Khan. I'm the Senior Vice President for Intelligent Vision Systems at Jabra, and I'm actually responsible for the collaboration business, which, as you can imagine, in the past 2 years has been growing very strongly. Earlier, I founded the company that built the Panacast technology, which is a unique technology integrating multiple cameras to create a seamless up to 180-degree field of view. We'll talk more about that.
Yeah, and Jabra is right over here, and they've got a demonstration for you back at the IMCCA stand. So by all means, take a look at it. So give me your personal story around working from home. Obviously, we're all in the exact same boat. No one's immune from this pandemic. What happened to you when you stopped going to an office and started? What was your experience like?
I think you described it really well up front, David. March 2020 is sort of that date etched in our minds, and it was just like a light switch. You were fine one day. And then we thought, for a week, we'll figure this out, kind of made something up, and, it just grew and grew and grew. So, we evolved very quickly, and I think we're fortunate that being knowledge workers, a lot of our work is fairly portable. So we ended up, improvising first, and then I ended up getting a table, I use Macs a lot, so I had a cinema display, my Mac, and, of course, Jabra Panacast cameras, our headsets, our speakerphones, the Speak product. And it actually became pretty handy. And, we use Teams and Zoom a lot. We've got customers who use Google, LogMeIn, so many different services. And the whole company culture adapted because we used to fly every month for 3 days to Ballerup, which is outside Copenhagen, for our governance days, for our global management team meetings. And we ended up evolving to doing all of them remotely. And so now it's been 2 years that we've been remote. And it took a little while for everybody to kind of get fully comfortable with it, but once people got comfortable with it, it's now just, as you said, it's the new normal. I think hybrid is the new normal. I don't think this will go away. It's good for us. Electrons are a lot easier to transport than people. It's good for the world. And, it's giving us some time back. It's giving us some control back over how we live and work.
It's actually a great point if you think about it. People who have had naysaying or who are against remote working and hybrid working for a long time, the business publications, some of the financial services companies, some older companies, they would all talk about the magic that happens. We want everybody back in the office because these impromptu collisions and magic and that happens, you can't capture that over video. And then you talk about that you're working for a company now. Obviously, Panacast was absorbed by Jabra in Copenhagen. I work for a company where I live in New Jersey, but my corporate offices are in San Jose. There were never collisions in the world nowadays. We were all in different cities or different countries. So we have to come up with a way to have this technology, even if we do get to travel once in a while, to have the technology replace this kind of communication.
Yeah. I think there's real value to that, impromptu, the water cooler moments, and we'll talk about that. But just yesterday night, we did a webinar with AVIXA for Asia Pacific, and we had 500 people joining us. It was 10 p.m. for me, it was 1 p.m. in Singapore, and they were from all over the Asia Pacific region. We had a few folks in North America. That's really only possible
Well,
with the
hello
kind of
everybody,
technologies
Rich
that we
Green
provide
here.
and that we make possible with collaboration from the UC service providers.
Exactly. And one thing that we learned in the process is remote collaboration technology, video and audio, is excellent for top-down communication at organizations, meaning if the CEO or your managing director or your boss needs to tell everybody the new strategy, hundreds, if not thousands of people are on and it works and you get the message. And that happens organically, perfectly. But what did you do over the weekend and how are your kids? And Aurangzeb, you and I need to sit and chat because we haven't seen each other in forever and catch up. That doesn't happen organically. And as managers now, we need to learn, supervisors need to learn brand new skills that it's not just management by walking around anymore. How do we foster that? How do we ask people about their kids and their weekend? And how do we have chat groups? And how do we build that culture using these tools?
Well, it's a really good point, and we kind of backed into it, and it's been working well for us. So I'll just share what we do. We set up a 30-minute kind of open mic session Fridays at 11. And we have so many meetings, normal work, all kinds of stuff, working meetings and so on. And we are now in a hybrid mode where we're going into the office sometimes, but not all the time, right? So as you said, we've adapted. But this open mic session is just that. It's to just share whatever you want to share. And sometimes it's work, it's projects, something good happened, something that needs attention, something people need help, and then also on their personal life. And you mentioned pets earlier, and we have 3 cats in our house, and I think a while back people would freak out if they walk by you, and now it's like, he's human, he's got pets, this is all normal, and people are much more comfortable with that.
That's an awesome point, is that all the things that we were afraid of that would interrupt the flow of communication over video have now become humanizing during the pandemic. I love to see your kids. Kids on camera, now you got to bring her in front, they got to talk to us. Same thing with pets, same thing with everything else. It makes us feel more connected and more human. So tell me about the transition for you from, and I don't know that you have done it, but I assume most people have, from this is what I was using when it all started to, all right, this isn't going to work, now I've got to build something more permanently.
Right.
And for your customers as well, what have you heard about how people set up their home work offices?
Well, so I'm spoiled for choice because I've had great headsets and speak. So my go-to tools, in my backpack are the 85 headsets, our latest headsets, noise canceling headsets. Really good. Some days it's warm, you've got the fan on, you've got the window open, kind of cancels out the noise out, and you can hear very clearly. And then when I'm doing that, I'm not disturbing my family members in the house, right? So my go-to is that. I have a display just like you. I'm two displays. I have the built-in screen and then the extended display. And then, of course, Jabra Panacast. And lately, we've got a new generation of products coming out this year, Panacast 50 and Panacast 20. So I have one of the Panacast 20s now. Forever, it was Jabra Panacast, and it would automatically zoom in on me, as you alluded to. There's a lot of technology now that lets these devices. Lighting, as you said, is important. Our devices have pretty good low light performance, but even with that, lighting changes all the time. So for me, when I'm doing night calls, I'll have some background lighting just to have some amount of light, but otherwise I can just use the ambient light that's around me, and it works pretty well. And a desk, a small desk. I've been bad about a chair. I have a chair, I also have a sofa, and I end up lounging sometimes on the sofa, which is really bad for my back.
Yeah, I've been suffering with back issues the last couple of days myself. And there are a number of people who prefer to use stand-up situations, stand-up desks. They don't want, so the flexibility of the camera is important. What do you say to people when they tell you, I've got a camera in my Mac, why should I get an outside camera?
You said it really well, and I think the easy test is just, do a video call, use that, and use a good camera. Maybe try one of our devices and I'll give you a very simple example. We have a colleague whose home office has a window to the outside world, as you said, and then, during the day, the lighting changes quite a lot. So middle of the day, most of the day in California, it's pretty bright. And so what will happen is he just looks silhouetted. So I have a perfect view of his front yard and the street, but I can't see him because because the camera is basically just focusing on, the center weighted exposure, which happens to be the outside. He got one of our devices and it lit him up. Literally, people thought, did you get new lighting? What happened? Nothing. He just got a better device. We know where the people are using artificial intelligence. We can identify where the people are. And we've built algorithms in these devices to expose for the person, not for the surrounding. So the person looks great, and he's like, no, I didn't get any lighting. I just got a better device to do the job. So obviously, probably a little bias here, but that's my story.
And that's actually a good point. Let's talk a little bit about the aspects of a good camera for collaboration. And, I certainly don't mind you talking about, your company's products because they're awesome, but there are many products out there. It's no longer just the camera. There are a lot of facets to the camera for collaboration that have changed remarkably. If you guys haven't looked at or purchased a camera in the last year or two, the changes that have come out of the market are amazing. So let's actually run off a few of them. You talk about artificial intelligence or machine learning. The idea is that the technology that we're putting in right now for collaboration is often smart enough to do what needs to be done without the person doing that, framing, tracking. So talk a little bit about that.
Exactly, and I think there's a whole new generation of professional devices built for this purpose that integrate artificial intelligence. That's something quite new. It's very powerful because many of these processors are built on algorithms. The algorithms keep improving, the data sets keep improving, and so on. But the basic thing is that it can frame you. If you move around, it can track you, so you don't have to worry about, am I exactly dead center? You don't have to sit exactly still. It's actually very hard to do, not very natural. And often they have inbuilt microphones. Pretty good pickup. You can use that as a way to kind of go-to device for your audio input device. And probably the most important thing is better quality imagers and lenses, right? The quality of the imager, the quality of the pixel makes a difference to how good the video looks. The quality of the lens, how good is it in terms of providing an undistorted view across that field of view that you're interested in.
And AI extends past the camera. It's also talking about, the sound. You were talking about, noise blocking and the ability to detect and reject noise. Whichever manufacturer you're talking about has different names for it. But you're actually in a situation right now where we've created better than being there experiences. If your cat is making a noise, or if the gardener, or if there's something coming that you have to hear, with the headset on, it blocks you from hearing it. And with a good headset, the other end doesn't hear it as well.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And I think, we've grown accustomed to these technologies, and if folks haven't tried it, I would just say try it. You'll find that it reduces the kind of the cognitive dissonance, the load for you to pay attention. I'd imagine trying to talk to somebody over a video conferencing service and the video doesn't look good. They kind of sound tinny. They don't sound, you don't hear the timbre of their voice. You might do it, as you said, you do it when you have to, but it's not something you want to do every day, many hours a day, 5 days a week.
I can keep chatting with Aurangzeb forever. Does anybody here have any questions that they would like to ask? I'll remind you there's a microphone over there, and I'll keep going on about it. Why is a variety of devices important? As you were pointing out, you make really good headsets, you make really good speakerphones, and there are choices amongst those. What do you look at in terms of the circumstance why someone would pick one over another? Like a saw moving, for example.
The headset has kind of become my go-to device when I'm by myself, because it gives me a level of privacy. For example, even at home, I don't want to disturb other family members. And if you're out and about, so as you alluded to, there are these three places we're normalizing to work, right? There's a return to the office, there's an office, there's a work from home, and then there's a work anywhere. And I've occasionally done, I flew out, sat in a Starbucks and had some coffee and put the headset on. And I was doing a call with my phone or the headset. Perfectly private conversation, right? I mean, it's a business conversation. Nobody really, it's a private conversation. I don't have to talk loudly. I'm just talking in a normal voice. So that the speakerphone products we deliver, and I think, as you said, there are many great companies and competitors out there building products. Speakerphones are really handy when you've got a group of people coming together. They're portable, easy to use, so you can kind of keep them in your office, bring them home, get some folks around a table if you need to. And we do also, of course, personal video conferencing, not only for work. And then, of course, with the return to the office, there's a whole new generation of products that can go into collaboration spaces, whether they're rooms or open spaces. You mount them on the wall, they're there, they're part of the infrastructure, and they just make it easier for people to get on with their conversation rather than the technology.
And that's actually a great point. It's off the topic of our presentation today, but if you're putting in enterprise collaboration systems and you haven't done it for a couple of years, the products that are on the market right now are better, smarter, cheaper, easier to install. It's a generational leap over the last couple of years, so you should definitely be aware of that. So give us your name and where you're from, and what's your question? He'll follow up with you.
Not on yet. Hold on for 1 second.
Maybe is the switch on? We're all AV guys.
Working now?
Yep. Yeah.
So one trend that I've seen...
Before you say, who are you? Where are you from?
Jason Knott with CE Pro Magazine.
Awesome.
So One trend that I've seen lately is more and more business calls being taken while people are in their car. And so I'm wondering if you see this home office trend migrating to improved communication or systems that will actually be in people's cars. Because I see guys balancing their cell phones up on the dash while they're driving and doing business calls, and it can't be safe.
No. In fact, the mental images, I hope they turn the video off when they're doing a call in the car. Some of the newer cars have pretty good integration into their own sound systems inside the vehicle, so that's one thing that I've seen. But I haven't focused a whole lot on that area, I have to say.
Well, it raises an interesting phenomenon. First of all, having a video device in the front seat of your car is still illegal in many jurisdictions in the United States. It's odd because now cars are being built with the touchscreens built in, but that's the truth. It's I know in some regions it's illegal. The point though is, if you send me an email to my professional email right now, you're going to get my out of office message. And I don't know how many of you have set up automatic messages as well, being here at the show. My out of office message tells everybody I'm not out of office. There may be a delayed response, but my office is wherever I am, where I have my headset, where I have my mobile device. I can be on a call, I can be on a Zoom call or a Teams call or do anything. My office is me. And that's the real nirvana we're going through with working from home and hybrid working, is that just because I was in a hotel yesterday in a city that I'm not usually in, doesn't mean I can't take the 3 or 4 important meetings that I need to be on. I would ask people to pull over in a car, and I think there are certain headsets that you can wear or hands-free devices that make it easier. I don't know that anybody's really going to encourage video from the car, but you're right, there are a lot of people that are doing it. They're making the point of showing that I've joined your call even though I'm busy right now. So it's an interesting phenomenon to look at. I guess you're right, we have to kind of keep an eye on it. It could be an opportunity, but again, it's more to that point that people realize that the idea that I would have to sit behind a desk 9 to 5 days a week in order to be working for what we do as knowledge workers is ridiculous. If you're a barista, if you're a jackhammer operator, if you're a nurse, these are things you most of the time have to be in person to do. But if you're a knowledge worker, if you're a designer like us, and I'm looking to see if there are any kids in the room, and I don't see any children, you're an adult. You knew what time you had to wake up this morning. You know what meetings are on your calendar. You know when you need to be at a client's office or a job site or at a meeting or at a lunch. Why should anybody be dictating to you where you need to be at any given time? I'm hiring you because you're the best and brightest. Just like we talked about, you can hire anybody around the world now. They don't have to be a commute distance to the office. And I trust you to be able to be on the calls and do what you need to do and meet your objectives. And if you don't meet your objectives, whether they're sales quotas or satisfied clients or whatever, you're not going to keep the job for very long. That's the world we're getting to with hybrid working for knowledge workers. And the home office is a part of that. Mobility is a part of that. I think you're seeing, as you point out, the smart devices are going to get better and better with better forward-facing cameras. The headsets, there's some awesome headsets coming out now. True wireless is really hot. I'm not a big fan of true wireless, sticking things in your ear. Especially at a conference like this, I'll use a one-ear headset because I like to keep my other ear open to listen to people. But yes, the trend is making more products specifically for being able to be mobile and go wherever you need to go.
I think, as you said, it's something to look at and figure out if there are better products to be put together. we active and passive noise cancellation through wireless, those are big improvements in audio technology, and as you've said. But again, I hope they keep the video off for that use case.
Any other questions out there? All right, so the one last question that I'll ask you, Aurangzeb, is the question I always ask everybody, and we'll probably get into this later because we have a session this afternoon as well. But let's look ahead. Don't tell me anything you're not allowed to tell me. I don't want to hear any NDAs, but what's going on in the collaboration space, specifically around the work from home? I see more and more manufacturers starting to develop a space for products that are not consumer webcams, that are for the enterprise user at home, but specifically built for home. And I assume that's a trend you're seeing as well.
Yeah, exactly right. I think, as you said, it seems like the world of work is giving us, kind of work we do as knowledge workers, a lot of flexibility. And we end up spending, if you kind of look at the kind of weighted mean time, maybe it'll grow back. For the longest time, it was all at the office, maybe a little bit at the home. Now it's maybe the other way around. And maybe it'll go to some norm and then work from anywhere. You alluded to this in one of your questions, David, that how do you get support and how do you build a solution that works from home and you can still maintain and get IT support for and so on. So we think that building a consistent architecture that ties to your strategy for collaboration, gives you products for work from anywhere, from home, is quite important. And then, lighting is variable when you're at the home. You need a certain amount of portability. You may want background blur, as you alluded to. You may want to put a background behind you. The power of artificial intelligence and machine learning is that we're inventing new algorithms that allow us to manage these pixels. What comes out of the device can be controlled. And so if you want to make sure that only the relevant information goes out, you can do so. That just is not even conceivable with built-in webcams or these older style devices, right? So, and then noise, gardener outside, somebody dropping something off, blocking that noise out so that your participants are not distracted. These are really very practical utilities that benefit. When I'm at home, I want to look as best I can, as much as when I'm at the office. I want to be heard clearly, I want to be seen clearly, I want to hear clearly and see clearly. And so these generation of products really enables that by providing the latest innovations in algorithms and semiconductor know-how.
Yeah, those are all excellent points. And as the platforms continue to evolve and add features, and they sometimes add features hourly, it's coming out very quickly. The hardware is being built for it, and it's going to improve. So the work from home experience is just going to continue to be better and better. All right, so Aurangzeb and I will be back at about 2 o'clock today for our second session. The next session we're going to do is really going to focus more on what is the phenomenon around hybrid working, around remote working. What's the story with workers? What's the story with the enterprise? It's more of a historical piece around what happened with the pandemic and what we see going on in the future. The focus for today, what I want you guys to take away, is that there are now best practices for building specific home offices. For those of you that are in manufacturing, it's an opportunity to create products in this space. For those of you that are in integration, it's an opportunity for you to get expertise around when you're building a from-home facility, someone's home theater or home audio system or smart home. You now can have the expertise to say, look, I know how to build you a home office that's actually going to be more functional and reliable going forward. Hopefully these points have helped you. Aurangzeb will be here for the rest of the show, either at the Jabra booth or at the demonstration station. I'll be at the IMCCA pavilion back over there. Any questions or comments, if you'd like a business card, if there's anything I can help you with, by all means tweet, by all means connect with us on LinkedIn. We'll be happy to chat with you and keep moving the conversation forward. So if there are no other questions from you guys, I'm going to say thank you and let's have a terrific day today.
Thank you, guys.